AEFL, American Elite Fantasy League.
My name's Trevor Freimeyer. Team name, Marshall Matters.
Justin Yates, team captain, Green Eggs and Cane.
Brandon Oltmus, the Paul Baker Dream Team.
Ethan Barr, team captain, former Child Stars.
Captain Tanner Guthrie, team Old Smuggler.
Tyler Boner, and I am the Raging Boners.
My name is
Ben Parker.
and I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers. 8 Jewish American soldiers. Once we're in enemy territory, as a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only.
Win football games.
The Sankey Legs, Adam Edwards.
Will Wetzel, helmet to helmet contact.
Jared Fichter, LFPB.
Chase Kraft, my Cobb, and your Bush, and your host, and our weekly review starts now. What's up, fellas? Welcome to Season 3, Week 9 of the AFL, and if you fools haven't noticed yet, we're making our second trip around the division as we started off the year facing division opponents only, then to have 3 weeks off facing the other teams in the other division, and now this week we are back starting with the team we faced in Week 1, and then we'll continue playing the rest of the guys in our division. Just a little reminder in the fact that the playoffs are based on your division. That is why we have you play your division twice, and then the other division only 3 times. That's just the way the schedule works out with a 13-week regular season. But anyways, let's get into the games where I fell to liquor in the front, poker in the back pretty badly. I told you I was worried, and it was justified as I got the big loss there, 117.1 to 62.8. Marshall Matters falls again to Old Smuggler there, 147.9 to 132.3. Former Child Stars gets a very much needed win there over Grand Slam Breakfast Squad, 104.3 to 97.5. Then you have Inglorious Bastards picking up the huge win, and I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. This is the team to be worried about. It's all coming together for Ben. I mean, he's got the 2 best running backs. He picked up Brandon LaFell. I mean, things are just going well for him. 152.3 to 99.4 over the Raging Boners. Green Eggs and Can picks up the very much needed win over the Sankey Legs there, 118.6 to 67.9. That takes Edwards, I think, out of the playoff race. I'll have to double check it. Yeah, I really need to double check a lot of things like I say I'm going to, but just, I'm busy. So if you guys want to double check it for me, let me know. That'd be great. And then Paul Baker's Dream Team now drops to 4-5. That's 5 losses in a row. That might be another league record. I don't know. Look it up. Tell me. Maybe I'll look it up later. Who knows? But they fall to helmet-to-helmet contact, 167.2 to 144.8. And I think, Will, congrats, man. That trade worked out well for you. You got the most points in the league this week. Huge news for you. I mean, that was a hell of a trade. But we'll talk about that further. Now let's get into the games for this week where I just got destroyed. I mean, honestly, though, I think overall, our league had the highest points of the entire season, at least for this season so far, if not the whole entire league. Again, another thing I need to look up before I start throwing out these random records and whatever. But, we had a lot of high-scoring teams this week. It's really impressive. Unfortunately, my team was not one of them as I got my ass kicked thanks to the San Diego players. Phillip Rivers, -2 at quarterback against Miami. I mean, I knew it was going to be a struggle. Dolphins have a decent defense, but I wasn't expecting that. And Jared uses it against me and gets 20 points out of the Miami defense. So Rivers, -2. San Diego defense, -6. And Oliver only like a handful of points, not even a dozen. I'm not even giving that much credit. Ben Tate isn't doing anything. I don't start Reggie Wayne as he's come back from injury, and he explodes for 17 points. But wouldn't even matter, as like I said, Jared's defense gets him 20. Andrew Luck's fucking machine. I think it's 7 straight games of over 300 yards passing, which I think they're saying he might go on to break the NFL record for yards in a season. Then you had, Dwayne Bowe and Kenny Britt scoring big points. He finally dumped Quicks off of St. Louis. He started out hot, and then now he's just fading with this new quarterback. And then you have Kelsey there in Kansas City getting you big points. So Jared, again, man, just keep the truck on a rolling this year, doing well so far. Then you have Ben and Boner. Boner, man, where was Ivory and Olsen this week? I mean, just these guys you've counted on consistently this year, and they just let you down this game. Ben comes in. But even then, I don't think you can compete with Ben this week as many points as he put up with grabbing LaFell off of the waivers. He was a free agent. And then you have Jackson and Macklin just scoring big-time points. And then he throws in Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill off the free agent wire. God damn. I mean, great play. I mean, Ryan, how do you expect to win when Ryan Tannehill's like one of your leading scorers on your roster? That's just bullshit. Now, Trevor Tanner's game, gosh, Trevor, what can I say, man? Just wrong matchup for you. You scored a hell of a lot of points, but just not enough. Coming up short. Just seems to happen to you. But, Manning and Charles and Rainey scoring you big points. Bolden big points. I really like Bolden in San Francisco. He's that go-to guy there for Kaepernick. And then, will you just trade Tom Brady? Trade him away. Give him to Yates for the playoff push and try to get something like at tight end, because your tight end sucks. I shouldn't say that. Gates is actually kind of good. But you got to be able to get another receiver or something out of it. There's no use to have Tom Brady on your bench when Cam Newton's just sucking dick there for Yates, even though he did have a decent week this week for him. And then over to Tanner's, all your Seattle players finally showed up this week, even though Russell Wilson only gave you 10 points. But you didn't need it when Marshawn Lynch scores you 30. And the Seattle defense, I think, was like around 20. And then you have Sanu, who's just like taken off this year. Jimmy Graham's back and healthy. Benjamin worries me a little bit just because of Cam Newton, the up and down roller coaster ride there. But some big decisions coming up, man. Are you going to start Vereen, Lacey, or Ingram at running back, or in the flex, and then with Cooks? Just don't fuck it up. And then looking at Yates and Adams' games, like I said, Cam Newton came back at you around 15 points. I told you to start the Giants tight end over Reed, and you went with Reed and RG3. I don't trust RG3, but I do trust Eli Manning. Eli Manning might throw a lot of picks, but he's also going to complete some passes along the way. And RG3, I just don't think does either one of those in general. But Denard Robinson's getting you big points. Odell Beckham, it was a great pickup. He's scoring a lot of points there. With Eli again, it seems to be a trend. Pay attention to it. And then Edwards, it sucks for you, man. Foles gets the injury. The New Orleans running back gets you 0 points. Hell, even your kicker gets you 0 points. You at least need a couple points out of your kicker. But then again, guess who it was? A San Diego player, which they just did not show up in Miami this weekend at all. And what I think hurt... Oh, and speaking of another injury, Hawkins, the wide receiver in Cleveland, also got hurt. And he's usually good for, double-digit points for you. But what really hurt you was having the Bears on bye, no Jeffries and no Forte. Then, looking at Barr and Dustin's. Now we can finally mention this great trade. I love this trade. Will gives up Arian Foster for Gronk. Will had the ability... Will... Because of that trade, also got McCoy, which I think was a great move. Barr could give up Gronk because he had Dwayne Allen. Dwayne Allen just gets receptions and touchdowns. He's like Andrew Luck's favorite red zone target. Definitely don't want to throw it to Fleener, who did have 17 points, but I can't stand watching Fleener run down the field like an idiot. I'd much rather have it to Dwayne Allen, who should be on the field for every play since he can actually block and catch a ball, unlike Fleener. But so you can give up Gronk and get Arian Foster, and all around, man, your roster's just better overall. You're getting more points in more places. It worked out well. Where Will, dude, you get LaShawn McCoy, who's picking things up now, and then you get Gronk, who's just been on a tear recently. No matter how much Barr has a man crush on him. But then you look at Dustin, man, I don't know what to tell you. It's so frustrating. What can you do? If you would have played me, you would have won. Look at the positive on that. But Kaepernick just terrible year compared to what he's used to. That sucks. But lucky for you, Hill, the running back there in Cincinnati, is going to continue to be the starting running back. While I think Bernard, who also plays for Edwards, I believe, another injury for Edwards that I failed to mention, but Hill's going to get the start. He had big points this week. And then Andre Johnson, and Ertz also got you some lackluster points along with that Washington D, which hurt you overall. Looking into Brandon and Will's game. Brandon, don't forget to set your lineup. 2 weeks in a row, man. 2 weeks in a row. Thank you, Yates, for catching that kicker and texting him. What a friend. What a friend. And, hey, yeah, and moving is not an excuse. Take 5 minutes and look at your roster. 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Breeze and Brown and Fleener and Morris and Decker all go off for big points. But you know, just like I said for Trevor, wrong matchup, man. You played the highest scoring team of the week. What can you do? I mean, instead of losing 5 straight, you should have been back on the winning streak there. But like I said, when you're playing the highest scoring team of the week, and Will, there, not much you can do, no matter how well your team plays overall for the first time in how many weeks. But looking at Will, Big Ben, he's been on a tear the last 2 weeks. Didn't see this one coming at all. And then you have Hillman and McCoy. And then what a free agent find in Evans. He's been on a tear as of late. 2 touchdowns for you this week. And then not to mention Gronk. My only thing I'm skeptical about your roster that worries me, not that my roster is perfect, it's far from it. It's you know, just waiting to explode because my team is that bad and I've just gotten lucky so far. But it's Crabtree. I just worry about Crabtree down the stretch. Is he going to get receptions and points for you? That looks like, to me, the only weak spot. But hell, man, that trade just set you and Barr up nicely for the stretch, as we only have, this is week 10. Then we have 11, 12, and 13, and it's into the playoffs. But fellas, for now, that's the details on this week's games. Now let's get into this week's hard hit of the week.
Right now, I guarantee you, he's feeling a rib injury.
All right, this hard hit of the week has to go to Edwards. He had a couple guys put up zeros for him, not to mention a few injuries, and he's pretty much eliminated from the playoffs, barring a miracle that just works out in his favor. So Edwards for this week, due to the couple zeros on your rosters and then all these injuries, and then you had the Bears bye week that also hurt you, and you were really needing a win facing another 2-6 team, and just things don't go your way. So Edwards, for this week, you get the hard hit of the week. And now, fellas, let's get into these Week 10 matchups. All right, fellas, looking into the Week 10 matchups, it's my team at 5-4 facing off against the 2-7 Sankey Legs. And then you have the 4-5 Paul Baker's Dream Team against the 6-3 Raging Boners. Both teams losing last week, as well as both Edwards and I last week as well. And then you have Liquor in the front, Poker in the back there at 7-2, facing off against the 3-6 Grand Slam Breakfast Squad, with Ish really needing a win there to help his chances in making the playoffs. Then the same actually can be said now for the 3-6 Green Eggs and Cam there, facing off against the former Child Stars, who are now 5-4 with last week's big win. Then Will Wetzel there at 6-3, helmet-to-helmet contact, taking on the other 6-3 team, Old Smuggler. And then, like I said, the scary team to pay attention to, the 4-5 Inglorious Bastards, taking on the 3-6 Marshall Matters. And fellas, that is your Week 10 matchups. Fellas, so that's our Week 10 matchups. You better come ready to play. I am honestly worried. I got a lot of players on bye this week, and I really need a win. And, oh, shit. Well, everyone needs a win. What am I talking about? But, fellas, as always, it's been great. It's been wonderful. But, fuck you.
Alec Production.